Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters live from Taipei City. It is, of course, our final stop of Season 9 in 2015. First one of the year, of course, so we're all brushing the cobwebs off. But luckily for us, we've got some of the best players in the world playing StarCraft 2 to help us do that. And we've already seen some fantastic games over the last 2.5 days. We're exactly halfway through the week as we head into Group C. Our first matches have already been done, so let's show you the results. We, of course, had Life winning 2-0. Not as straightforward as he may have thought he wanted against 4GG, but nevertheless coming through 2-0. And he will now face Soulkey from TCM, who also came through in an absolute destruction of Yoey Flash Wolves San in the first round. So we'll head into Soulkey versus Life now with our members of the panel. Maynard's joined us. But interesting first game from Life. He said before the game he would crush 4GG. There was no problem whatsoever. It wasn't quite a crush, but it was still pretty dominant.
Game 2 certainly wasn't a crushing, but Game 1 was a crushing.
Yeah.
I mean, the mistake from 4GG sending those Hellions across the map after seeing that many Lings was a bit uncharacteristic of him, but you know, those games happen. Believe me, they happen.
Yeah, and caught between a rock and a hard place in many ways, in that he's a great mech player. We've seen him play mech tremendously well, but he knows mech's not going to work against Life, so he's kind of forced into that bio, which he's not like 100% happy with. I don't know how you feel about it though, Todd.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. The thing is, when you can expect the mech style and you can expect somebody will do it almost every single game, it's very easy, or it's much easier in general to prepare and to know kind of how you're going to play, so that makes it a lot weaker. And 4GG, on a few occasions, he tried to surprise Life with more of a bio play. Even back at DreamHack, you know, I think it was Life who said in an interview that he couldn't lose to bio or something, so it sounded like maybe 4GG wanted to accept the challenge, played by one of the games, won anyway. So sadly here he couldn't repeat the performance, and Life was too much on point.
Okay, let's move on to our next game now. Soulkey versus Life's great ZvZ. I love watching these two go head to head. It's going to be a very interesting battle between these two. What are you expecting, Maynard?
I'm actually expecting Life to do pretty well here. His win rate in ZvZ is extraordinary. Soulkey is, as from Life's own mouth, the second best player in his mind in this group. So it's going to be a fierce battle, but I'm feeling like Life's going to probably 2-0 here.
Okay, all right. Susie, you've been talking to Soulkey. What has he got to say for himself?
Well, Soulkey has shared with me that he has gotten a good night's sleep. He got himself a foot massage.
Okay.
He said he's sleeping like a baby. He's super pumped up for today. However, when I did talk to him, Soulkey, he also said that he will probably make it out of groups with Life, but him being first and Life being second. Like Life said, it is a ZvZ. I think both of them know that it's going to be a coin toss on how they play this game and how it comes out, but I don't think it's going to be a 2-0. I'm going to say 2-1.
Okay.
And my head says Life, but I really want Soulkey because this is his first IEM.
All right.
And I kind of want it to be a really good experience for him since he is on stage and all, you know?
So hold on. So both of you are kind of going for Life, really. You both think Life will win.
I'm just using my brain, man. This is hard aside.
I left out some vital information here. And that is that Soulkey is currently 7-0 against Life. Life hasn't even won a map against him in an official match.
And that's a really good stat to bring up, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to matter.
Okay.
Life is the world champion right now, and I don't think a Soulkey can stop him.
We had this before, Todd, at BlizzCon. We were talking about San versus Life in that case, and San was something like 14 or 16-0 against Life. Life had never won a map before he played San at BlizzCon, and he absolutely destroyed. It's almost like Life doesn't actually respect any historical data.
Yeah, kind of. The thing is, going to these tournaments, the question is going to be how much he prepared against Zerg. We had a very Zerg stacked open brackets, but he was already in the group stages. And in the group stages, there wasn't particularly that many Zergs. It was more about the Protoss, so maybe he focused on that. So really not too sure what to think about this here. And Soulkey, he showcased some great ZvZ in the open bracket. I mean, he qualified off of his ZvZ mostly. Yeah. So,
I mean, where do you put Life right now? I mean, he's the world champion. He's #1 on the Eligulac rankings. He's across the board, you know, across all 3 races, he's the best player in the world right now, according to everything else. But do you feel like he's the best ZvZ player in the world right now? Or I mean, Soulkey has in the past been called the best ZvZ player in the world. How do you measure Life against that?
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, I'm not the ZvZ expert.
Really?
Yes, but
well, that's astonishing.
To me,
can we get a new guy up here, please?
The ZvZs that I've seen of him before, he was obviously pretty good, but definitely not unbeatable. I remember him losing to Scarlet, MLG Anaheim, and losing a few ZvZs here and there. He's not that guy, like we have for TVT, for example, with Bomber and 4GG. He's not that guy who has like a 90% win rate and he's almost unbeatable in the matchup. So I think it's going to be pretty open between these two.
I mean, you had mentioned that. I'm sorry.
No.
You had mentioned that Life hasn't been practicing with the qualifier guys because he's been seeded in. However, I did ask him about that. I said, what do you think? And he goes, well, I've been practicing a lot, just hanging out. And like we said, there's a lot of Zerg players. And he said, yeah, I mean, after practicing, I think I could take this. I think I could take. I mean,
recent form for Life, he's actually 89% win rate in ZvZ, so it's pretty good.
Similar to what Jadong was rocking
back in the day when he was JVZ.
Back in the day with JVZ, but like you say, it should be LVZ right now.
It should be LVZ,
Life's ZvZ is, it's just ridiculous.
So you guys all going for Life, the obvious choice?
I'm going with Soulkey.
I'm going with Soulkey too.
What's up?
My heart is beating out my head. I want him to have a good experience at IEM. This is his first time here. He hasn't had a lot of, too many international tournaments, and I think that's really important for him to come home with a really good experience.
So Susie's going with heart, right? Maynard, are you going with head?
Always.
So head says Life.
Yes.
So Todd says he's the analytical one of the three of us.
Heart, head, and Todd.
It's hard to disagree with you guys when you pick different guys. So,
okay.
So I'm going to go for Soulkey.
So three of us have gone for Soulkey. Now, I must admit, I'm going for Soulkey for purely personal reasons. He now plays for a team that I used to manage, which is TCM. So I've... A little bit of bias there. No bias at all whatsoever normally, but just in this one. We're going to head over to the commentary desk now, who are waiting to commentate on our second game, our third overall in Group C, of course. This one, hopefully, will be a sensational ZvZ. It's Soulkey versus Life.
A world champion goes up against a player who a lot have considered to be one of the best in the world at one time. That time has passed. But can he attain those heights once again? We'll find out going up against Life. It's certainly a very strong test for him.
I agree with Life in his winner's interview. This match is 50-50 for me. I do personally favor Life, but any two of these can win.
All right, well, let's get into the first game. In this best of three, the winner will advance on in first place in Group C, attaining themselves that top seed in this group, moving on into the round of 8. As we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, it's our blue Zerg. He is Soulkey, representing TCM, British team, as Paul was mentioning before, and spawning up to the top right-hand corner, it is, of course, the winner of our previous series. It is Life, representing StarTale.
And as much as Soulkey hasn't achieved the same level of results that he did back in 2013, where he was on fire, he made like 3 finals and multiple top 4 finishes. Looking back into 2014, he simply didn't play that many tournaments. He played the GSL 3 times, and pretty much every time he got knocked out by Zest.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, okay. You got knocked out by Zest every time, and Zest was on fire that year. It's very difficult to judge Soulkey based off his results. In my opinion, he is still one of the best Zerg players out there. He just hasn't had the tournaments to showcase it. And now he's here at the Industry Masters. It's his debut. It's his first time. I think he'll advance from this group, and I think he will really showcase what he's made of.
Definitely. I have to agree. The Pro League in the Korean scene is a limiting factor where you don't see many people being able to travel to international events, etc. Soulkey has tried to qualify for Intel Extreme Masters in the past, but has failed. He was pipped at the post more famously, if you recall, by Rogue in the World Championship last year. But this time around, he's here. He's in the round of 8, 16 even, and looking to advance on.
Yeah, he played, including this qualifier for this event, 7 in total qualifiers to try to get into the Extreme Masters, and he failed to qualify for this event. He had to travel over for the open bracket, which he made it through yesterday, the day before even. But these two builds shaping up now. Spawn Pool first into Hatchery. And then we do see Soulkey, who's taken the gas a little bit earlier on, opening up his options more so than Life is.
Yeah, a little bit difficult for him to really get in there and have a look around, as that hatchery has gone down first, and thus that Overlord will be a little bit skeptical. He could do what Snoot did, though, skirt around the edges, poke in at the edge, because it is closer towards the back there to be able to spot with that Overlord.
Big difference between the two of them here. Soulkey's chosen to build a set of Zerglings where Life hasn't. Soulkey wants to know what Life is up to, gas or gasless, compared to Life, who's just like, I'm taking my gas here, I'm going to add on drones instantly, and I'm not so worried about getting in as soon as possible, but focusing much more on his income.
Two Lings moving out now for Soulkey, looking to try and dive into the main, see what he can find in terms of any gas income that may have already happened or about to happen. Either way, there could be a potential block from Life. He's already positioning his Queen on that ramp to maybe try and do so.
Yeah, and Ling's coming back here to make that block possible too.
And even going to chase onto creep now. A little bit more mobility here, but very careful and cautious with this queen movement, as the Lings have already positioned themselves nicely on the ramp and should be able to fend this off. Well done there by Life.
Both players completely in the dark. Neither of them know each other's gas, and we already have Zergling speed on the way for Soulkey.
So no information given. Oh, but he does let it slip through at the end there, so we'll notice that gas has been mined.
He knows that gas has been mined, and he knows that speed is roughly 60 seconds or so away, but he doesn't know if the units that just popped out of that hatchery were Zerglings or drones, because he could be already piling up Lings for a big attack. So he instantly throws down the Bailey Nest in reaction. He's got to be safe. He's got to be cautious here.
Definitely. Two queens positioning themselves at the front as well here for Soulkey, just to add to an extra little bit of a buffer if anything were to happen. But Life, meanwhile, throwing down his own Bailey Nest at the front of his base, limiting a bit of that surface area. He's to get some info.
And they see already a decent amount of drones, and they're going to see drones popping from the hatchery as well here. And you don't just build one drone and then a bunch of Lings. He's going to know that Soulkey's droning quite a bit now, and Life has chosen to add on 6 Lings, 8 Lings. And it looks like he's going to challenge the amount of drones that Soulkey's made, hoping that Soulkey doesn't have the right defense. Soulkey's already gone up to the layer, taking away gas from potential Banelings.
That is a lot of gas, you're right. So that could hinder him if
Life is going to go for, he's going to attack.
Yeah, and he didn't really get full information that he really wanted to, of course, not knowing that the Baneling Nest is in the main, but aside from that, that is a lot of Lings being produced. This Ling, though, actually with speed, was able to see a few, but not too many.
Spinecrawler and 2 Banelings morphed immediately. The game is already over for Life. When it gets scouted like that, you can't continue through.
Yeah, I will have to, from there on, transition to something else. These few Lings are going to move out across the map, maybe potentially force a little bit more of a reaction, but overall, Life now transitioning into that layer, looking to go a bit further.
Yeah, we're going to enter the mid game here. No player should take damage at all, especially Soulkey, because he's playing a bit more defensive. But Soulkey has the layer much earlier and all 4 gases. He's aiming towards the Spire. Life at the moment currently heading that way as well, but without the same income in minerals and also gas, because he built those Lings early to potentially look for an attack.
Extra gas is being added overall for Life, and now going up to that 4 to just catch up with where Soulkey was. This one Ling, once again, looking for a little bit of information, sees the extra gas added on there, and it's going to be the Spire for Soulkey. As we've been mentioning before, the Spire has become quite the convenience on 2 base.
Yeah, it's become quite common recently in ZvZ for sure.
Well, 3rd base going to go down for Life. Not been spotted just yet, as Soulkey for now is a little bit out of range. Ooh, nice connections with those Banelings, cleaning up some of those Zerglings that would have ideally liked to have gone over to the 3rd base location to deny if anything was going on there.
No high ground vision. Walked up the ramp and got shot down.
Yeah, no Overlord there to speak of, as Soulkey could have potentially denied that with Overlords, if Queens, if he'd have been able to move out. But that's a lot of Lings flooding over to that 3rd base.
Yeah, we've entered the mid part of the game now, where they finish droning on 2 bases, and it's all about trying to deny your opponent's 3rd base and win a fight on there.
And this is quite a good engagement initially for Life. He did have the more Lings there to be able to deal with that. A few Banelings, though, marching in will be able to zone Life out for just a little bit. Ooh, has to be very careful as 2 Banelings detonate for 2 Banelings, so keeping that even, but the extra Banelings morphing in for Soulkey should be able to keep him hunkered down.
And it's like a game of tug of war now. You win your side, then you go over to your opponent's side and hope that he's ready to defend, and it looks like Life's going to go over there now.
Very even counts in terms of the gas, a little bit of a Ling trading going on, but Soulkey eventually will overwhelm this initial force. While a few more reinforcing Lings do come in, the 7 Mutalisks already on the way, though, before the Spire is even finished for Life.
That's a nice advantage for Soulkey, because he can already start to pick off Overlords that are close. He's going to maybe potentially supply bot Life and slow him down from doing the same.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Mutalisks in this matchup. You still gain so much map control initially if you are the one that has got there a little bit quicker.
But Soulkey's got his 3rd gases and mining from them much earlier than Life.
Life really would like to get that going, as he does have the Carapace on the way, so he's already committing to the idea of Muta Wars here.
Life supply blocked here, 86 for quite a while.
That's a bit of a hindrance, that's definitely true. As Life just moving around in the middle of the map here with these Lings, making sure that they're not going to get picked off by any kind of Mutalists. He knows that the Mutalists are now a big threat in the middle of the map, and Soulkey has established himself good position in the middle.
Yeah, and with Soulkey getting the Spire earlier, he's cleared up the map. The map is his. He has full map control and full vision, which means it's harder for Life to defend because he can only see limited amounts of information. Darts of Lings one way and the other, Mutalisk one way and the other, is much easier for Soulkey to pull off and harder for Life to defend.
Yeah. Despite having map control, though, Soulkey bringing his Overlords back cleverly, because eventually these Mutalisks can just swing around another direction. Banelings are actually walking forwards. As the Mutalisk battle is happening here, a lot of Lings are still there for Soulkey. He's trying to attack on multiple little angles, but he's going to lose these Banelings for free.
Life has chosen to invest in the Carapace upgrade here, which when that completes will have a big lead in the fights in the Mutalisk Wars.
And it matters a lot when you're neck and neck. In this situation, because all of the focus was on gas at that third base as well, it's going to be hopefully a potential advantage for Life there. I mean, both of them are very, very even in terms of supply right now.
Very even in every regard, to be honest. And it's almost, you know, even in terms of what they see. They both control one Xel'Naga tower each for the time being. Soulkey takes back full map vision, controlling both, which means he's at the advantage with the position he's in.
And Soulkey keeping his Lings with his Mutalisks so that they will soak up some of the bounces from Glaive Worms if that engagement is to come. It's a very smart little thing, but he's got to accommodate for the fact that Carapace is finished here for Life on his Mutas somehow.
Just looking for an opportunity here is Soulkey with the map vision that he's got, trying to dart to the main base here, but is stopped, so he's going to go around the left-hand side to the third, but also is going to get met by Life, who is equally defending with the types of aggression that Soulkey's attempting to pull off.
Trying to grab the queens there, limit a little bit of the production from Life, but no success, no cigar. There's a lot of army here for Life is pushing across the map. He's getting into aggressive positions.
Well, he's got that +1 Carapace. He can fight better than Soulkey can.
Yeah, he's also started +1 weapons as well, so even when the Carapace finishes, eventually there would be another window if he's not able to do big damage here. These Banelings are very, very important. If he can kill off the Lings on the ground, that would be very, very nice for him here. They will zone out at the bottom. A big, big engagement going down. Very close numbers in terms of the Mutalisks, but will the Carapace win out in the end? The Banelings should be able to do a lot on the ground if they're just zoning out, and by the looks of things, the Mutalisk count is still dead even. 13 to 13 on the field.
3 queens in support there did a lot for Soulkey, but Lings are starting to break through.
And they will get into the main. If they could kill off a queen or two there as well to limit some production, that would be nice. If you get the queens, limit that production, moving on forwards. Look at the supplies.
Great move from Life. He took the fight, and it was very equal on the edge of creep for Soulkey, and then he sent Lings to the main base, which had to be chased. And then the Mutalisk went to the third, picked off drones, 10 drones, picked off a couple of overlords. Really good play there from Life. Perfect timing with his +1 Carapace completing, and perfect engagement.
Yeah, good decision-making overall, and taking this engagement once again. Technically, Carapace is done for both of these players, but he's just got so many more Mutalisks in this engagement, thanks to the fact that he crippled the production. GG, game number 1 goes to Life. After very, very smart and well-executed decision-making.
And back to what Life said, this game is 50-50. It could have gone either way, but the choice of upgrading the Carapace as soon as Aspire finished gave him the opportunity to take a fight that he won out, then was able to dart left and right. Even though the queens were really good in support there for Soulkey, they only pushed Life back, even though he was winning the majority of that. And then the opportunity to get into the production and the economy easily tilted it over.
All right, well, that does it for game number 1, guys, here in this series. Join us after the break when we'll have game number 2 between Soulkey and Life. All right, welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Taipei, as we're going to get into game number 2 between Soulkey and Life. And it really felt there that Life, his balance of defense and offense, the small decision-making, really, really well-oiled.
Yeah, it was a very clean game from both sides there, but at the end, Life was the one to pull through.
Yep, very well done. We're going to be getting into game 2 in a second here. It's going to be on Catalina, and I mean, I don't see why there should be too much difference. I still think it's a good map for the idea of two base Mutalisk play, and the way in which both executed it. If Soulkey makes little tweaks, I think he can still stand toe-to-toe.
Yeah, absolutely. If that's their core choice of strategy and what they prefer to use in this matchup, then there's no doubt we'll probably see it again. But the early game is where it matters. Both opened up pretty safe in the last game. Do they want to try to take a risk in this one?
Well, we'll find out. Let's get into it. Game number 2 between Life and Soulkey. Life currently 1 game up, and in the end is 1 game away from the round of 8. As we have spawning on the left-hand side, this time in the blue, it is Life representing Startail. And up to the north position, it's our Red Zerg, currently 1 game down. It is Soulkey.
And already a slight advantage here for Soulkey because he sent his Overlord in the correct pathway here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Life is going to have to scout out with his second Overlord, but Soulkey's Overlord's going to be there pretty fast. If it's a hatchery first from Life, he can even dart in the main base and scout fully. Unfortunately, Soulkey can do that, but Life cannot here, unfortunately.
No, it's going to take him a long time to get over there, so it's probably going to have to be Lings for Life, which he does end up liking, of course, a lot in this game. He's pretty good with Lings, let's be honest, and try and get in there later on. So this might give Soulkey the opportunity to block any kind of scouting that may go on. Is there anything that Soulkey can do to take advantage of the idea of having information and knowing that his opponent doesn't this early on?
Not really. Not at this part of the game when he hasn't already chosen the choice of early spawning pool. So he'll just be happy that if there was something to happen in this game, if there already were Lings in production, he'd see it now. And then he'd be like, oh, great, I'm so happy my Overlord went the right way. And he's going to be like, okay, you've gone hatchery first, also happy my Overlord went the right way. But to change his strategy up apart from those things doesn't really help.
Well, yeah, hatchery first for Soulkey has been the choice. We have a spawning pool first for Life over on the back of things as well. The Overlord gets there so fast that technically he can see one of the gases at least.
Yeah.
Because it was going in the first direction, despite it being a spawning pool first.
With Zerg vs. Zerg early build orders, in the first game, both of them chose to play cautious. Soulkey took a risk here, saying, okay, he played cautious in the last game, he's probably going to do it again this time. I'm going to go hatchery first and get a better build opening than he has. So Soulkey has a better build choice in Life, who chose to be cautious for 2 games in a row.
Overlord comes in, sees that no gases on the first one, will be able to head over to the second one as well. Life actually opted for the Ling production quickly off the back of this.
Yeah, he has to,
Yeah, will want to really start poking around, really wants to see if there is a gas going down. But again, will Soulkey deny is the big important question.
Yeah, Life knows that he's not being rushed very early on, but he's got absolutely no idea. Spawning pool first, hatch first, if a gas has been taken, very limited on his information, and that's the added bonus of being able to scout very fast with that Overlord.
And there should be a Queen coming out in just a bit here for Soulkey. Actually, I think the Lynx should be able to get there just before that Queen even gets out. It's going to be very, very close, so there may not even be an opportunity to deny it. It will be up to the 2 Lynx to buy a little bit of time during all of that dancing around, but at least he'll see the hatchery first for the first time.
A big change up from Life, no gas play.
Yeah. And with that no gas play, with the extra queens potentially going to have to be in the defense, etc., does this give him far more power economically later on?
Absolutely. He's going to be really powered up come the mid-game. And it's not that difficult to defend with queens on this map either. Get that creep spread towards the ramp, a couple of structures down, double evolution chamber and a roach warren, maybe a queen in placement to obviously stop Lings flooding in, and you are in good shape.
Well, those Lings do get chased back in the end by Soulkey, but they already saw the fact that gas was being mined and the speed is on the way. So at least Life knows what it's playing against.
In the war of information, Life is now winning, even though he was losing in the early part of the game. He knows what he's against. He knows that Zergling speed and a potential attack is possible. And on the flip side, Soulkey's got no idea. Did Life actually take a gas instantly after I left my base with the Overlord? Is he playing, gasless? There's the creep spread already from Life to get ready to wall off against a potential attack. But he's playing greedy, he's playing drone heavy, he's going to have a drone lead, he's in good shape.
And even Goth actually throwing down a spine crawler, being a little bit apprehensive about the idea of that gas already being mined. Very, very important to just take insurance against that and taking the double gas at the natural. So even if Lings poked up there and saw that there was double gas, is there gas in the main? I don't really know at this point as Soulkey.
Soulkey, if he knew what was going on, would throw down a third hatchery instantly. There's no way for Life to pressure, there's no way for Life to be aggressive, but Soulkey's in the dark. He's playing a little bit risky in the fact that he hasn't chosen to go for a Baneling Nest or Spine Crawl or anything here, so despite being in the dark, he's cutting corners. He's got no information on Life, and he's hoping Life isn't being aggressive, which he isn't in this game, and so we do have that fast Slayer coming in.
And 3 extra gases go down for Soulkey as well during all that. But Ling's actually managed to get in, though, and see the lack of layer morphing in.
Yeah, perfect scout. This is like, go take your third base now.
Yeah.
Perfect scout.
Very, very well done there by Soulkey to be able to just jump on in there. So, I mean, he's got himself that layer lead overall anyway. It's quite the lead, in fact. If he's able to throw down Spire very, very quickly off the back of this, that would be nice. But Life has opted to go for Roach Warren, which has been spotted as well here by Soulkey. I wonder if it's a fake out.
It's, I think he's going to stick with the Roach Warren Evolution Chamber here. He should stick with it. This is pretty much a perfect game and perfect scout, should I say, from Soulkey on that. And he knows that he's playing against a ground army, not an air army. So he's going to want to get attack upgrades. He's also going to start to want to produce a lot of links to prepare himself for any type of attack that could squeeze in before the Mucilis are ready.
At least he was able to see his opponent's third base as well, as Soulkey's has actually gone unnoticed for now.
Soulkey's putting up a lot of links. If he's able to get himself on that third base and get a cancel,
it will be very nice. It will be a great start to the Mutalist play that's going to be coming in later on.
He's going to shoot out now. There's 11 roaches on the way. Will they get there in time?
That's a lot of roaches. Is he trying to hit before some kind of Spire play comes along?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, the Spine Crawlers are already in place for the defense. He actually pokes forwards with this link, sees that many Spine Crawlers being added on, and without seeing the Spire, can anticipate what's going on.
Soulkey's going to go for the Queens. He's trying to get the best of both worlds here, but he may not get the hatchery. He needs to get the hatchery. He should have just gone straight for it. He tried to gamble to get both, but
there's transfusions available. Will he be able to do this? There is but he decides to just cancel and restart. So that is a good delay there for Soulkey. Again, there was transfusions available, but do you really want to be able to have to use those without the full guarantee that you're going to be able to save the hatch? It's debatable.
All right, well, third hatch down here for Soulkey. 8 Mulists on the way. Perfect game for him. All he needs to do really is just build up an army because he's already got the lead with the extra hatchery.
Yeah, he
just mustn't, because right now Life can't drone to a third base that doesn't exist really. So he should be only building army units, which means Soulkey has to prepare in case he gets attacked.
Did the Lynx see the infestation pit? It looks like they may have done at the back. No, I don't think he did. He didn't see the infestation pit going down at the back. And that's basically Life's answer to these Mutalisks once they accrue numbers. But Soulkey is just using them how they were used maybe like a meta ago, which is to just kill off Overlords, control the middle of the map, and then transition onto Roaches.
That's right. So all that Soulkey's planning to do is kill Overlords, take full map vision, force out a lot of Spore Crawls, force out a lot of anti-air, and then switch away. And he's going to want to switch away with a better economy, because right now, everything is going in Soulkey's favor in terms of map control, which means he can drone freely to that third base. He needs a bigger income to overtake a potential upgrade lead, which Live naturally is going to have at this point.
It doesn't mean to say that the infestation pit is useless without just prolonged Mutalist production. Of course, they're very good against Roaches and ground-based armies as well, right?
Absolutely. The Infestors are going to be very useful against a Roach War or in a Roach War.
Yeah, so got to be careful here as Soulkey still, despite the fact that he had his third base up and running and good to go for a little while longer. It's still 51 drones to 51 drones.
Soulkey's building up an army rather than trying to improve his economy, which leads us to believe that he's hoping here that Life's going to play very defensive and try to improve his third base economy and tech, and then Soulkey wants to hit in while he's in the middle of doing that. But that's not happening. He's walking into an army that's been built already by Life.
And how many queens did he actually have out there?
It's
6.
It's almost like they're both trying to build an army to jump on your opponent while they're droning, but neither of them are actually droning heavily. Until now, where Life squeezes out 10.
That's a nice little boon if you can get those out and keep them uncontested. Actually, a few more being in production there as well. So going up to 67 drones.
Life's got to be so careful. He's droning way too heavily at this point.
Yeah, that is a lot of drones for this matchup. You've got to be careful. Soulkey, though, I mean, maybe the Infestors can buy him some time. If he's got some good engine for Fungals, that is a little bit of a difference in these armies.
And because of the awesome map vision Soulkey's had, Life has no idea that he's been building this army for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's very hard to read into that when you've been pushed back this far. Fungals are going to have to be good. That's not too bad to start this engagement off. Seals off a few of those roaches at the back, but he really needs to deal with the Mutalists. The Mutalists on top of those Infestors at the back there, bringing those down, forcing some Infested Terrans out. He doesn't want to be using those over the idea of Fungal Ghost to keep this back, and Soulkey might be able to do very well in this engagement with some extra reinforcements. The Mutalists still being annoying up to the top right. Very well done by Soulkey, but in the end, the reinforcement point was too good for Life to be able to push this back just a little bit more.
Oh, right in between the upgrades, but now the upgrades are going to complete for Life.
Uh-oh. All right, +2 about to finish here during all of this. Very, very close. He needs to try. He was trying to pick off queens during that. As you can see, the Roaches trying to get to those. But again, with +2 now finished up and the reinforcements still coming out for life, he will hold on well.
That was the one opportunity there for Soulkey in this game. He's behind in economy, he's behind in tech, and he's behind in upgrades. If that attack worked, it would have been brilliant. It didn't work. Now Life is flying ahead and looking at that 2-0, looking at that first place, looking at another top 8 here at the Inside Extreme Masters.
Yeah, the window was there, but Soulkey just barely missed it, scraped by as Life now up in terms of supply. 24, 25, 30 Roaches on the field with even the 3 Infestors still alive, accruing energy, making it harder and harder for just Roach-based play to succeed.
And Life is just building up one last army to kill off Soulkey. Because when you try to do that type of attack, you cut off your economy and tech and so on. And if it doesn't work, you try to have to get that tech and so on because you will just lose a fight. So Soulkey's building up drones and he's trying to get his +2 attack, and now he's trying to build that army after droning up a little bit. But Life said, okay, I know you're going to drone. I'm going to build up this army, and then when I'm ready to go, I will have much more than you will, and I'll finish this game off.
He can happily just max out and go. He's really that far at this point with 182 supply now to 156 army supplies. He's around 20 or so ahead.
Soulkey knows if he plays this basic where he sits back, defends, and waits for the attack, he'll lose. So he's trying to do something tricky. Build spines, get some defensive Roaches out while trying to go for a counter-attack.
There's no other way, really, at this point. He's behind in army supply, he's behind in upgrades, and this is going to have to... It actually draws Life back, which does buy Soulkey some time, but can he do enough damage with these units that are basically sacrificed now? They are locked in. Can he do enough with these Roaches to be able to even up the odds?
Sniping queens, drones, anything to slow Life down while he replenishes what he's going to lose. He knows he's going to lose it, but if he does enough damage to slow Life down and it then is equal by the time Life counters, that's exactly what he wants.
And Life's going to have another tool in his belt very soon, which is going to be Burrow as well as Tunneling Claws. With the amount of Roaches that he has left over, it's currently 60 Roaches on the field against 32. Again, still with those 3 Infestors in the arsenal of Life. It's going to be very hard. I don't think Soulkey did enough with that, Sean.
I don't think so either. And unfortunately now Life is ready to fight. He bought himself enough time to have +2 attack for this next fight, but he didn't buy himself enough time to have a larger army.
Yeah,
it was a good idea, very good idea, especially because he's playing from behind and needs a desperate chance to call himself back up, but this wasn't good enough.
And the great thing about this now for Life is what he was trying to do was leaving some back. He knew that Soulkey was going to try for the counter-attack again, but use the Burrow as well as Tunneling Claws to do some damage whilst that was going on. Unfortunately for him, though, there was an Overseer between the 2nd and 3rd base with a lot of Roaches that would have denied that as well.
And Life's going to go for this attack, I think. He shouldn't come back to defend now.
It's still a huge army supply advantage. He doesn't really care too much about the Roaches that are going for the counter-attack as he pushes forwards. There's a few actually of the Infestors burrowed behind this. Really want to get on top of the fight. There were a few transfuses from Soulkey as well, trying to keep some of this alive, but it's going to be Infested Terrans of choice with the fungal growth up to the top left-hand corner. He's overwhelming that army, losing a few drones at the back, but I don't think the Spine Crawlers as well as a few Hydras are going to be able to hold against this huge, huge army from Life.
And the 20 Roaches in the production tab will be used to defend the counter-attacking Roaches of Soulkey.
Very, very well played out here by Life. Bringing it down, GG. Game number 2 goes to him, and he advances on to the round of 8 and dispatched of Soulkey in such strong manner. And those are the first 2 games he's ever won in televised tournaments against Soulkey.
That's right. Soulkey entered this series with a 100% win rate against Life, but not this tournament, not this era, not these last couple of months. You're not going to defeat Life very easily, and Life dispatches of 4GG and Soulkey very easily. 4-0, instant win.
All right, well, that does it for our 2nd series here in Group C. Let's head over to the analysis desk to see what they think about that series.
Thank you very much, James and Sean, there on the commentary desk. Thanks to them for upper bracket final is the victor. Life once more. Gentlemen and ladies and Maynard.
What, am I going in between her? Okay, cool.
I like how he said ladies, like there's more than one up here. Maybe
yeah,
you're
it was
like
me
the half.
He was like,
You count for more than one lady.
Any cold told gentleman, that's like being wrong 3 times in a row.
I just wrong all round,
Anyway.
right? Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said before the game, no respect of historical data whatsoever.
Nope.
You can be 16-0 against me. I don't care. Next game is mine.
Now, who's the only one? Who's the only one that said Life 2-0?
I just want to point out here.
You picked the favorite, the world champ, and you're proud of it? Really?
Well, I mean, you guys didn't pick the right score. You didn't pick the right player. I did both. I mean, I'm the only one that did.
It's almost like we've got an Australian in control on the panel. It's amazing.
11 control.
Well,
He's
you
great.
know,
How scary is that?
I love Jeff.
what you said about Life just disrespecting all statistics.
Doesn't care, does he?
But you know what? When I again talking to him earlier this morning, talking to him here at the desk, the kid just is so incredibly confident in his play. He said you could throw anything at me.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's creative play or new play, whatever. I'll figure it out. And it was pretty apparent even in his gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, what did you make of the match itself?
Life is just too good overall. It's not even like he has, one strat with which he's very good at. He's good at everything. He can play Muta, he can play Roach, and no matter what Soulkey did, even that last attack here for a second, I thought it might be good for Soulkey, but then I realized that Soulkey was just going to kill drones here and there, and it wasn't going to buy that much time. He didn't have the economy to even max out behind this, and the counter attack was going to kill him. And Life saw the same thing and just ended it. The first game, Muta versus Muta, I feel like Muta versus Muta takes so much skill to clearly outplay somebody who's just like doing the exact same thing as you, probably even more so than Roaches versus Roaches. I feel like maybe there's a little bit more randomness. Keep in mind, I'm no ZvZ expert, as I've already mentioned, but Muta versus Muta, I'm always impressed because to me, a cloud of Muta looks the same as another cloud of Muta. So how do you judge whether you can engage or not and you have more Mutas? But somehow these guys, they do it and they do it so well because they make it work.
And you're right, Maynard, Todd brought up a great point. It doesn't really matter what kind of matchup he has. We saw two similar matchups, albeit Muta versus Muta game 1 and then Roach versus Roach game 2. Didn't seem to matter to Life.
Yeah, and I mean, even when Life was on the ropes, his facial expression didn't change the slightest.
We saw him on the desk. You saw him on the desk.
Concerned. Soulkey had this massive concave at the third. Life was bowled in with Infestors, similar numbers. Soulkey was overwhelming him, and Life was deadpan. He's like, I'm winning this game. I'm going to win this game. I am Life. I'm the best.
But you and I would be sitting there going, oh, no.
Yeah, I was like, oh, God, Soulkey got this. And Life's just like...
You know what we need? We need Maru versus Life.
Yes, please.
We do need Maru.
Yes, please. One time.
The two kids with the poker faces.
Indeed. The two prodigal sons of their respective
Royal
races.
Raiders, man.
Yeah.
Put him in those booths.
Like you said, that deadpan look, even in his first game versus 4GG, you just saw that, I think it was game 2, where any other Zerg, you guys were saying any other Zerg would have probably GG'd out there. No, he was just like, I'm going to hold this and keep going. And he did the same thing in game 2 in this matchup. So I don't know what's going through his head, but something's clicking right.
Money.
Is clicking right.
Money and WCS points. That's
Money's money.
Well, there's plenty of that on the line. $10,000, of course, goes to the winner, which would make Life the third most successful player in history on earnings alone, prize money alone. So plenty of stuff for him to get his head into. And also another title, of course, would make him the only man other than Hero to have won more than one Intel Extreme Masters. He's well on the way. He's the first man out of Group C and he's into the round of 8, which will be shown tomorrow. Quick break coming up and then we'll have our final game in Group C and we'll also update you on all of the results so far. We'll see you in a few.